Hi folks, Pete Hall, one of the authors of A Teacher's Reflective Impact Journal, and I'm here to give you a little how-to guide, how to use it, and how to make it work for you, because it's for you, this journal. It's an opportunity for us to get better at something, and it gives us a very clear model for how to get better at something based on how we reflect and how we think and how we allocate our mental energy. So it follows what's called the reflective cycle, which is a 4-step process for allocating our mental energy towards something. And the first step is to build awareness. What's our goal? What do we want to accomplish? What is it we're trying to get better at? What's the target? And once you have that clearly identified in mind, you go to the second step, which is to make decisions and act with intentionality. Because everything you do, you want to do that thing in order to accomplish the goal. So once you got clarity of the goal, then you're going to identify the strategy that you feel gives you the best chance of accomplishing that goal. And then you're going to practice it, you're going to get better at it, you're going to focus on it, you're really going to implement it as much as you can. The third step, and this is the step that separates this process from most other processes, is you pay attention to the cause and effect relationship between what you did and what you got. So the third step is to assess the impact of your actions, right? We don't really do that very well. We tend to think of the inputs and the outputs as being two separate variables. And the reality is the outputs are related to the inputs. So whatever you did determined what you got. Because only when you identify, hey, I did this, and as a result of doing this, because I did this, this happened. Only when you do that can you adapt and adjust, which is the fourth step, is to adapt and adjust and to try things differently next time. And that's the reflective cycle in a nutshell. You can find that right here in the book too. It tells you a little bit about the reflective cycle to get you started. And then once you dig into the journal, you will find each week has a theme. And there are 5 themes that repeat 8 times each for a total of 40 weeks following the school year pattern, right? The first is a wow week, and you don't have to take them in order if you don't want to. A wow week is when things go really well, which they will. And when they do go really well, you want to identify why they go really well and what can I do to make sure that happens again, right? So there's a wow week, and you have an opportunity to go through the reflective cycle over the course of a wow week. The second is a yikes week, when things don't necessarily go as planned, and I'm sorry to tell you, that's also going to happen. It's not always going to go the way you want it to go. And when it doesn't, when it goes off the rails, when it goes haywire, you want to be intentional about identifying, well, why did that happen? So what could I do differently to change that, to make it better for next week? That's your yikes week. There's also tackle a fear week. There's a problem of practice week, right? And then, of course, there's a question week, because you always have questions about things that are going on in your classroom and things that you could do differently. And each of those weeks follows the reflective cycle, and you go through that. You try to develop that habit of reflective thought and really paying attention to what's going on in the 6 inches between your ears. That's in a nutshell how the Reflective Impact Journal works. I strongly recommend that, if possible, and whenever possible, engage in this reflective process with your colleagues, with an instructional coach, if you have an instructional coach, with an assistant principal or a principal or somebody who's in a mentorship role for you. Engage in this in a collaborative way as much as possible, in addition to engaging in your own reflective thoughts. And you can pursue greatness every day by using this Reflective Impact Journal.